Throughout the building industry, the problem of lateral damp penetration and running water has always been a major headache, particularly when found in a below-ground situation. It's a problem that, unless arrested quickly and permanently, will cause irreparable damage to all structures, regardless of situation or type. For over 4 decades, Sovereign Chemical Industries Limited, the country's leading damp-proofing company, has been involved heavily in the research and development relating to this problem, and has been fundamental in acquiring the ultimate answer: the Sovereign Heidi tanking system. The Heidi systems, used extensively worldwide for the past 35 years, are unique. 2 permanent and easy-to-use solutions to the problem of running water and damp in below ground and many above ground situations. This is a site with which you are undoubtedly familiar. A cellar made virtually unusable through lateral penetrating dampness. All defects are plainly visible. The pointing is crumbling, salting is heavy, there are holes in the brickwork, gaps in the joints, the plastic floor membrane is clearly visible, and the limescale wash is extremely heavy. By using the Heidi system, any cellar exhibiting these symptoms can be transformed into useful domestic or office space. Thorough preparation of the surfaces is critical to the success of Heidi treatments. To begin, all traces of paint, dirt or grime must be removed from the surface. This will necessitate sandblasting, chemical cleansing, or, as in this instance, using a scabbler and needle gun. Once cleaned, any defective pointing should be raked out to a minimum depth of 12 millimeters. This is especially important where lime or black ash mortar has been used. Where salting is evident or groundwater has penetrated, a treatment of anti-sulfate must be applied. This material reacts with the soluble salt and renders them insoluble, which prevents their movement within the wall after treatment. This can be applied immediately prior to repointing. In large contracts, where repointing will take more than 4 days, the anti-sulfate treatment is applied after this has been completed. New builds will not require anti-sulfate treatment. All cracks and holes should now be filled and repointed using a clean washed sand cement mortar mix containing Sovereign bonding agent. This must cure before proceeding. Heidi Rapid, a fast-setting cementitious compound, can also be used to accelerate this process. In addition, where load bearing is required, holes approximately twice the diameter and 1.5 times the depth of the fixing should be drilled. The hole should then be filled with a mortar mix of Heidi Rapid and bonding agent. While this is still soft, press home the fixing and hold until the mix cures. The same procedure can be used once the contract is complete. Where the surface is uneven or masonry is loose or missing, this should be rough pointed and then bag rubbed, which produces a smoother surface from which to work. Any protruding plastic membrane should be burnt away at this stage. Where the amount of making good is excessive or the substrate is soft, non-porous or appears friable, then consideration should be given to applying a new modified render coat. Where there is known to be hydrostatic water pressure, or the probability of long periods of hydrostatic water pressure, the render should be supported with stainless steel expanded metal lath. Advice and specifications can be obtained from the technical department. Remove all loose materials and apply anti-sulfate diluted with water to the correct ratio. Prepare a bonding coat consisting of SBR bonding agent and water, then mix with fresh Portland cement. This will dramatically improve the adhesion of any render coat. SBR bonding agent should always be used in situations where reoccurring dampness is a problem. The mix, which should have a yogurt consistency, should then be applied to the surface vigorously with a brush as a thin 1 mm coat. While this is still tacky, apply a render coat. Continue to apply the bonding coat, keeping about 20 minutes ahead of the plasterer. The render coat should consist of bagged washed sand and fresh ordinary Portland cement, gauged with SBR bonding agent and water, mixed to the correct ratios. It is important that you do not overmix the render. It should be troweled to approximately 5 to 7 millimeters thickness using a wooden float or similar, leaving an open surface. It should then be left for a minimum of 24 hours before tanking. Before commencing K11 treatment, apply a coat of neat anti-sulfate and allow to soak in. Before using EML, you must remove all loose materials and apply anti-sulfate diluted 1:1 with water and leave overnight. The process should be repeated the following morning using neat anti-sulfate, then commence fixing. The stainless steel EML should be fixed according to the manufacturer's specification, taking into account the condition of the substrate. Where long walls are involved, each course of EML should be bonded, offset, to the previous course. Where possible, fixings should not be made into the joints and should be drilled or fixed direct into the substrate. After fixing the EML, render over with a wooden float using bagged washed sand and fresh ordinary Portland cement with a mix of SBR bonding agent and water. It may be easier to apply in 2 consecutive coats, ensuring there are no voids and that the render is proud of the EML by approximately 4 to 5 millimeters. Leave this for a minimum of 24 hours before tanking. K11 must be applied to a sound damp surface that is free from surface water. For most applications, power washing will help achieve this. Dry areas and new builds should be pre-wetted several times in order to wet out the capillaries within the substrate. Once all surfaces are fully prepared, they should be wetted with a priming coat made up of 1 part sovereign bonding agent to 9 parts water. Ensure that sufficient solution is mixed to treat all surfaces, particularly on large contracts. It is essential that wetting down is completed no more than 20 minutes prior to the application of Heidi K11. Since the substrate must be damp for K11 to take full effect, if a wall has dried out, then the wetting down process must be repeated. Before mixing Heidi, calculate the quantity of material to be used. In below-ground situations, the correct coverage is 2 kilograms of grey and 2 kilograms of white per square metre. Reduced coverage is required in above-ground situations or where tanking is required against positive water pressure, where the water pressure is pressing the tanking onto the substrate.